Hi, welcome back to Teaching Them. I'm Michael Keentz, and I'm bringing you a lesson today called God's Recipe. God's Recipe. So the purpose of this lesson is to teach that God will use bad things in our lives to make something good out of them, that he can flip it all. And the scripture that we'll be using is Romans 8:28. For we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and who are called according to his purpose. So God will use all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. That means the bad stuff and the good stuff. And so the metaphor that we're going to be using for the object lesson is baking a cake. So I would bring the kids together and I'd say, hey, who out there loves cake? And probably quite a few of them do. Yeah, I love cake too. Fantastic, because I've set it up for today that we're going to bake a cake, and I've got all the ingredients ready, and I need some volunteers. Then call up, you can call one volunteer to be your helper. That can work. Or you could call multiple volunteers if you wanted to, since you have multiple ingredients. If you have multiple volunteers, you'll want to have a spoon for every volunteer, just in case they take you up on the challenge to taste their ingredient. But they may not take you up on it, who knows. Have a spoon for yourself as well, because you're going to do some tasting. So the way the lesson goes. So I've got all these ingredients together. I'm really excited about that. Let's bake a cake. I have a recipe, and the recipe is located at the very last page of the lesson, which you can find at www.teachingthem.org. Also includes a rhyme time and also includes some debrief questions. But of course, you could always go and just print a recipe online. That'd be also very good. So I've got this recipe. Let's see what we got to do. Okay, step one, preheat the oven to 350 degrees. That's a problem. I didn't think to do that. Okay, let's see. Step two. Step two, grease and flour cake pans. I didn't bring any cake pans, and I don't know what it means to grease them. Maybe we can skip that step. Step 3, mix all the dry ingredients. Step 4, mix the wet ingredients. Step 5, mix the dry and the wet ingredients. Mix them all together. Then you have a batter. Then you pour it into the cake pans. Again, that's a little bit of a problem. Oh, and then it says you got to put them in the oven for 35 minutes. I don't want to wait for 35 minutes. We don't have that much time. You know what? I've got a better idea. Let's just eat the individual ingredients by themselves, because they're all going to the same place, right? You know, they all get mixed in and make a cake in our bellies. And so that will probably be just as good, won't it? Here's a spoon for each of the volunteers. You want to go ahead and try yours and let them go in and try the different things. And we've got sugar, flour, cocoa, baking powder, baking soda, salt, water, milk, and vegetable oil. And then we have an egg. I didn't have a raw egg, so I had to use a boiled egg, which is ridiculous for this recipe, but we're not actually baking a cake. So we have all of that. Who wants to taste their thing? And so it'd be great if the kids would want to taste it. I imagine the kid with the sugar is going to be like, I'm all in. Yeah, that's great. That does taste good. That reminds me of a cake. That's very good. The kid with the flour, maybe not so much. If they don't want to do it, I encourage you to reach your spoon in and go, come on, this will be great. We're baking a cake. Let's try it. Oh, that's terrible. It's very dry. Now it's like mud in my mouth. Well, let's try the cocoa. Oh, that does not taste like chocolate at all. Chocolate is sweet. That is not sweet. Let's try baking powder. No, it fizzes. That's really weird. That didn't taste good. The baking soda? Yeah, I don't understand what that is. Gross. Salt. Salt might be pretty good. Yeah, that delivers. Water. I could use some water. Milk. I'm going to chase it down. Vegetable oil. Oh, I don't think I want to do this, but I will. This is not good. And then the egg, if you have a raw egg, of course, don't eat that. If you have a boiled egg, you can take a bite of it. That is actually pretty good. I don't understand how it's going to make a cake, but that was really good. So after you've had that, hopefully you get a little comedy out of it. You say, well, I don't understand. How come these taste so bad? When these are all the ingredients that go into a cake. A cake tastes so good. It's yummy. I love it. And the kids probably know what's up. They're going to say, come on, teacher. That of course they don't taste good apart. You got to mix them. You got to mix them and bake them. And that's where the magic happens. And you can go, you know what? That reminds me of a verse from the Bible. And this time I'll be reading from the English Standard Version. It says, Romans 8:28, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. All things work together for their good? You say, maybe just some things. And hopefully you can get the kids to respond, to do a little call and response, and the kids go, no, all things. Just the good things. No, all things. I mean, just the things that I like? No, all things. That's the promise, is that God will use all things for the good of those who love him and who are called according to his purpose. Now, what we got to do is we got to give it to God. So when the bad stuff happens, when the bitter stuff happens, and we don't like it, then we got to go to God and we say, God, I don't know what to do with this. This was really hard. I had a bad experience at school today. Bully picked on me. I'm really afraid. I'm angry because so-and-so cheated off my work. Or so-and-so said something about me to my friends that wasn't true. I'm angry about those kind of things. God, I don't know what to do with it. Bring it to God. Bring it to God. Lay all your burdens at his feet. You can trust with him because he cares for you. So you lay that at his feet and you say, God, I don't know what to do with it. This is a bitter ingredient, but I trust you. And then God can take that and he can use it in a powerful way. If we're willing to forgive when forgiveness is appropriate, when we're willing to grieve with God and allow God to come into our grieving, when we're allowed to take those questions, the mysteries of life that we don't understand. Why did this happen? How come I'm such a good person? How come this happened to me? When we lay those all at the feet of Jesus, then he can take that and he can bake it all together. And he can make something out of it that will turn your life around, that will actually help you to prosper, because God has good plans for us. And he wants to take even the bad stuff and use it for our good. So that's a fun lesson. It's a good way to show them. Hopefully you get some laughs out of the middle part where they're tasting the ingredients. But definitely try this out with the kids and then leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of it. It's great being with you and have a great one. I'll see you next time.